Hey everybody, it's your old pal Mike. I hope you're happy, healthy, and safe, and welcome back to the channel. I thought, since I had a free moment, let's take care of a quick video idea that I have had for a long time, because I have my springs. Do you remember the video that Ryan and I made about a particular spring that fits a need that has come up with the American Pro 2. Now, if you're not super familiar with what's going on or what I'm talking about, I encourage you to watch my American Pro 2 Jazzmaster review on the channel, as well as the follow-up video that I did with Ryan from 60 Cycle Hum, wherein we talk about a spring that he found that fixes a major issue with the Panorama, specifically if you use heavier string gauges. Now, I'll link both of those videos below, but the long and short of it is thus. Ever since the American Pro 2 came out, I have noticed an issue with this vibrato, the Panorama, the redesigned dive-bomby sort of vibrato they're using on this model. And that issue is that when you use heavier strings, because of the change in the pivot point, they moved it forward on the Panorama, that puts a lot more pressure on the spring that they use, which is the very same they've been using for years on the AVRI series. But that spring just cannot stand up to the increased tension placed upon it by heavier strings, and that's where this spring comes in. And so I did the thing that you are supposed to do in situations like this, and I let my friends at Fender know. Anyway, it felt like they didn't really want my help. And I didn't hear back from them for a long time. But I wasn't truly able to diagnose the issue until I got my own, which is the one that you're seeing here, albeit modified now. When this one came in, the first thing I did was install 11 to 50 strings to see if this issue had been corrected. And lo and behold, fair viewer, it had not been. My vibrato was immediately unusable, could barely press it down, no range, and for a vibrato, it was a completely underwhelming experience. It's a weak-ass spring! Indeed, the issue is a weak-ass spring, and this spring, being the stock one here, just does not hold up to scrutiny. In fact, I can just kind of press it together with my hands, which does not bode well for its installation and use in a vibrato. So thanks to Ryan at 60 Cycle Hum, we found these interesting die-cut springs that are way heavier duty. They're way harder to depress, and they work beautifully when installed in an American Pro 2. And I've just been waiting this whole time to do it to my very own guitar, and that's what we're going to do today. And I would like to give a special shout out to our friend Robert. Robert is a friend of the channel, well, both of our channels, mine and 60 Cycle Hum's. Robert, in all of his wisdom and glory, was kind enough to send me not only another spring, so I've got an extra here, but he also sent me a modified spindle. This is the thing that your spring sits on when it's installed in the vibrato. Every offset vibrato has a spindle type deal going on, but sadly the interior diameter of this new spring is much smaller than that of the stock and thus won't fit without modification. Ryan's solution was to drill out the spring itself. So Robert, who is an expert in all things lathe related, sent me a modified spindle that perfectly fits on the interior diameter of that new spring. So we're gonna put this in the vibrato and see how it works. Before I pop this in, I want to note that I have no idea if Robert is planning to make these or sell these on his own, and so I'm not certain what the future looks like for this modified spindle idea. However, it wouldn't be too hard to modify one of these on your own if you just back it into a drill chuck so that it's secure and spin it and use a file to kind of take off extra material. That could totally work. If you have a lathe yourself, well, you are way cooler than I am or any of my friends. So before the comments come in asking me where you can get one of your own, I just want to let you know that I have no idea at the moment. This is all new territory. We're still figuring this out. While I'm prepping this guitar to take the string tension off and remove the vibrato and the spring, I also want to take a moment to let you know sort of an update on the idea of Fender fixing these. Now in the Pro 2 video, I mentioned that Fender told me they were working on a solution. However, it's July now, and it's been so long since I heard from them. I just want to let you know that honestly, I don't think a fix is coming from the factory. I really don't have a lot of faith that this is going to change, although I would love to be surprised. Oh, but a cool development, but a very cool development, is that Levi from the custom shop. Levi is one of the most exciting builders going on over at Fender right now. He's come up with a slew of really interesting guitars, including a Jaguar that has switchable onboard effects that you can plug into it, a beautiful red Toronado that is, oh my God, it's one of the coolest looking guitars I've seen come out of the custom shop in a while. But Levi reached out to Ryan and I to let us know that he was indeed using this very same spring. He thanked Ryan for finding it and me for spreading the word, and let us know that because he really wants to use the Panorama on his builds, he's been employing this spring to good use. He says it works perfectly and that it is doing absolutely everything that we promised it would, and he's really happy, and I'm happy to hear that too. So maybe, perhaps, this will trickle down. Incidentally, there will be a link in the description once again for you to buy this spring on your own from eBay. I have no affiliation with it. I'm sure that person who runs the eBay page is duly confused at these like waves of orders that keep coming in, where they're going, why they're shipping so many to the US and parts beyond. But yeah, anyway, I've talked enough. I just want to let you know that Levi is cool in using this, and that feels like a big win. Anyway, let's get to the strings. All right. Look at that. I mean, it really is a nice design, and I like what they did with it. I just think the spring thing was a huge misstep. However, this spring is from, again, my Mastery vibrato, and I'm really excited to have that thing back because I plan to use it on a project someday when I get to it. So we're gonna take this beautiful carbon steel, overbuilt, super tall spring, and we're gonna replace it, and the collet too. We're gonna replace the whole collet. I don't even need to worry about taking that off. We're gonna take that, and Robert included a screw, and yeah, I think I'm gonna have to use the screw as well, which is fine. But yeah, we're gonna put that whole assembly in the Panorama. And while I'm at it, I think I'm gonna adjust arm swing tension as well, because I've noticed that the arm of the Panorama really likes to get away from me, and I thought I had it pretty tight to begin with. So let's take care of that. That's nice and snug. I like that a lot. And it looks like all I need is an Allen key. Huh? Yes. That's a lot better. All right, we've got the spring installed. We've got the arm swing tension adjusted. Let's go ahead and put this whole thing back together. Perfect. Ooh, that feels real good. Oh, it feels really good. That feels really good, and there's not a whole lot of excess noise. That's the workbench. Yeah, I don't hear anything like what we were hearing on Ryan's when we put this spring in. There was sort of a click and a shifting going on that was really worrisome, but it must just be Ryan's guitar, because mine is not doing any of that. Nothing wild. I feel like this is good. let's plug it in and see what we come up with, huh? All right, let's see how this thing does. So the tuner tells me that that gets all the way down to A, but the A is not quite on. It's tuned to E standard, so it's a pretty significant drop. With nines, if I recall, it was getting down from E to F sharp, so almost an octave, not quite with the Panorama, but that's okay. Personally, not the end of the world. Actually, I think my mastery vibratos only go down to B, so this is just a little bit more than what I usually expect from them. So yeah, that's fine in my book. The Panorama feels real good. It feels way more immediate than a standard Jazzmaster vibrato, and that's no matter what spring you're using. This range dips so much quicker than it does with a standard Jazzmaster, which is also fine. It's good to have options. I've got 8 of those sitting around and they all perform exactly as I want them to, but it's nice having this odd one, this different kind of beast in my collection if I need a little bit more range. I like it. I like it a lot. I think I'm really happy with this spring. I think it feels totally solid. It's not making any noise like Ryan's did when we set it up, so that's good. Otherwise, yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think this yellow spring is exactly what I wanted, and that is more than I can say for the stock vibrato as it was. So yeah, I should note also, I've made a couple of changes to my American Pro 2. First and foremost, you'll notice the guard from Decoboom. This is a Tron style guard that was made for another artist, but I got it and I'm happy about that. It's got a pair of Curtis Novak pickups in there. I went for the JM90 in the neck and the JM180 in the bridge so that I could retain functionality with that push-pull. So oddly enough, Fender wires their pickup backwards. So on Curtis's pickup, the down position is the lower wind. It is the quote-unquote vintage sound, which is kind of what I wanted from my review. I think you'll remember that. And then when I hit it up, I've got more output, and that sounds like this. Let's turn that echo off, huh? And it sounds like this. Me personally, I vastly prefer the vintage sound, but hey, your mileage may vary. But the Novaks are working out really great, and I've used this guitar on a few recording projects. What else did I do? Oh, I did go ahead and replace the tuners. The stock ones were just not to my liking, so I got some kick-ass Kluson style Goto tuners in there and some conversion bushings so I didn't have to like fill the headstock in. They're working perfectly. Love this style of tuner. I vastly prefer them to anything else on the market. What else? I have not yet, but I am going to replace this volume pot with a 1 meg because the 500K still feels like it's lacking some definition, some treble that I expect from a Jazzmaster. So that's one more change I will be making. Otherwise, it's as it left the factory. I still have the stock Mustang style 9.5-inch radius bridge on there. Still got the Panorama on there. Did replace the switch tip with a little Rocket Man from Sonic Pickups, and that was fun. Thank you for that. So this thing has been working out just fine for me. I really enjoy it. Pretty solid instrument. I'm really impressed with it, especially after I made some very serious changes that made it work better for me. But let's play ourselves out, hey? Thanks for watching, for coming back to the channel, doing all that stuff. I'm not gonna go through the whole list, but I appreciate you being here, appreciate you being patient with me as I navigate the fun aspects of life that seem to pop up when you least expect it. My God, this year. Anyway, I'll thank you for being here. I hope you're taking care of yourselves and each other. Hope you're having fun with the guitar, and we'll see you next time.